You stay a claim up my heart, and I won't take the blame for a false start. And just know that I've been here before. And when our days were short, our nights were long, she was the only thing that I got wrong. And I know while my trousers are lying on your floor, well, I've been here before. For the truth, dirty, wasted youth. I'm sorry and it hurts to say it, but it turns out you were my favorite mistake. It's all done and I can't take it back. And just when you feel your life's getting on track, it all comes back like a slap in the face. And it turns out you were my favorite mistake. It's all done and I can't take it back. Oh, that goes my very own heart attack. Well, I've played the game, I've played the fool. You know I ran away, but I faced it too. And it shows when I turn up at your door. Well, I've been here, I've played away, I've played a hand. I've been known to fall, I've been known to stand, but I chose to turn up a wall.
All the components of your future Jean Desjoyaux swimming pool are manufactured at this 10,000 square meter plant located in the center of France. The casing structure, the filter unit, the experience of 2 generations dedicated to putting swimming pools within everyone's reach. Years of research to come up with an industrial solution to enable you to build your pool yourself. The contents of the Desjoyaux kit are guaranteed by the manufacturer, and you benefit from the advice of a specialist from the layout to the starting up of your pool, as well as from a 10-year guarantee on work performed as per our specifications. This cassette demonstrates the building of a pool by 2 professional builders step by step. You will see the various stages of assembly in detail and in motion, providing you with tips for success. The Desjoyaux kit holds no nasty surprises. Your happiness and that of your family are in your hands, so follow your guide. Not an actor, but a true professional. Hello, I'm Joe Praynat, and I've worked for Mr. Desjoyaux since 1959. I've already built almost 500 pools. You're finally going to build your Desjoyaux swimming pool. Don't worry, I'll be there throughout the building of the pool to guide you thanks to this cassette. I'm going to take you through all the stages of construction, from marking out the pool to starting it up. Using the template, you've already decided on the layout of the pool with your dealer. Now we're waiting for the delivery. On this truck you have your entire swimming pool kit. We'll start with the active casing, which is made of polypropylene and which will serve as the side walls of your pool. They're delivered in lengths of 2 meters in the size and shape of your pool. Here are the large and small struts, which will help you adjust the alignment and perpendicularity of your pool. This is the casing with the liner inside, which will be removed at the last minute on the day it is put in place. Over there is the second basic Desjoyaux principle, the filter unit, which is placed alongside the pool. It's a complete unit with the motor inside, fully equipped with its pump and its electrical panel, which must however be connected by a qualified electrician. The hose, the telescopic handle, the wall brush, the net and the testing kit for checking the water. This is the steel reinforcement of the pool, which includes the bed slab reinforcement, the bottom reinforcement and the welded steel mesh. These are the twisted pins which you will use to link the panels together at the top and bottom. These are the pins which will be placed in each panel. The Roman steps, installed like an ordinary panel by locking and bolting, and finally, the coping stones. Have everything immediately at hand and prepare the tools which are indispensable for assembling your kit. Pincers, open-end spanners, tie wire, lines, yardstick, a 10-meter tape measure, white chalk for marking out, a set of rules, shovel, pickaxe, and for putting the liner in place, a vacuum cleaner. In addition to the concrete, a few other materials are needed to build your pool. Cement, high alumina concrete, about 60 hollow breeze blocks, 15 solid breeze blocks for the structural blocks, as well as sand. We're going to start building the pool. The first step is to mark out the excavation. The pool is in line with the house and draw a line with string which we'll use as a reference. Using pegs and string, mark out an initial rectangle to the size of your pool. In this case the rectangle is 8 meters by 4. Check that the diagonals are equal. For an oval shape, it is of primary importance to mark out a rectangle in the center of the pool using string. It will be used as a reference point when marking out the shape of the pool. The swimming pool has now been marked out, and we're going to mark out a second outline, increasing the sides by 80 centimeters for the excavation. Mark out an extra width if you have Roman steps at the point where you want to place them. And don't forget that it's important to decide on the finished level of your pool using it. Also called the reference level, this peg will determine the level of your pool and will be used throughout the installation. Excavation must be carried out vertically in relation to the second outline to a depth of 1.35 meters below the finished level. Here, the first part of the excavation to 1.35 meters below the reference level has been completed. Now we're going to mark out the pool again at the bottom of the hole. During the second phase of the excavation, if you want a deep end, mark out the lowest point, somewhere we suggest between 1.68 meters, in the first third of the pool length. The slopes will then converge down to this point. Mark this low point using pegs higher than 10 centimeters. These will serve as a reference when pouring the concrete. Using pegs and a line, mark out the pool outline using chalk as in the first step. On the outline, define the position of the blocks intended to support the structures. Close to each position of the blocks, we've driven in pegs 1.25 meters lower than the reference level in order to level. Your dealer must now carry out a technical inspection to check the excavation, the marking out, the correct position of the blocks and the size of the base of the hole. When putting the blocks in place, dig a hole 30 centimeters by 30 until solid ground is reached. Cut the blocks in half using a club hammer. These blocks must be cut from solid blocks. Lay each half block on a bed of mortar. Make sure that the level of each block is perfectly aligned with that of the others. On the blocks, mark out the reference points, following the lines to make it easier to lay out the panels. We've finished with the blocks, and we're going to lay the steel mesh, which reinforces the bed slab. Cut strips of the welded steel mesh to the length of the pool plus about 1 meter. It's very important to turn over each strip of steel mesh to prevent it getting back on itself when it's positioned. Do not forget to make the steel mesh pass under the Roman steps. The strips of steel mesh must overlap each other by 20 centimeters. Cut the steel mesh around the blocks. Tie up all the strips using iron wire and pincers. The second step in building a pool is to assemble the structures. This is the active polypropylene casing which is going to form the side walls of your pool. The rear side, called chimney, is fluted, and the front, called Desjoyaux, is flat. The manufacture of our structures is inspected by the Veritas Bureau. Once you have lowered the structures around the pool, assemble them, starting from a corner. Bolt the structures at the top and bottom, putting a washer on each side. Use the reference marks on the blocks. Check the alignment of the adjoining panel sections. Once the structural elements have been put in place, fit the struts at each panel joint using the key bolts already fitted. Be careful not to tighten the adjustment screws. Position the steps in the same way as a panel. Attach the step unit to the panel simply by bolting. Wedge the steps. Finish assembling the structures by turning the keys. Once the structure is assembled, finish positioning the struts. Drive in a peg to support the bottom of the struts and seal them using mortar mixed with high alumina concrete to speed up drying. Once the concrete is dry, adjust the pool. Adjust the perpendicularity of the structure using a level by tightening the adjustment screws on the struts without forcing. Important inspection by your dealer now takes place to check the adjustment of your pool, its length, width, diagonals and its level. Right, we're going to move on to wiring together the reinforced concrete beams and the panel reinforcement. Fit the twisted rods horizontally in the upper part of chimneys. The rods must overlap by 50 centimeters. Fit the twisted pins vertically in each panel, tying them up to the horizontal rods from the top. Fit the twisted rods horizontally under the chimneys. Here I'm busy fitting the two bottom rods, used to link the 50 centimeter overlap. These rods are tied up after fitting the pins which go down into the chimney flutes to make a single piece block. The pool is assembled, reinforced and adjusted, and now we can pour the concrete. Here the concrete is being poured into the pool using a pump. About 8 cubic meters of concrete are necessary, dosed at 350 kilos. Start with the lower reinforced concrete beam outside the pool and bring the concrete up to 5 centimeters lower edge of the flute against the structure. Fill in panels in the top reinforced concrete beam. To make sure the chimneys are filled in homogeneously, tap the rear side of the structures. Another thing, if you're going to have a deck, don't forget to place a provisional iron rod every 2 panels. Then pour the base of the swimming pool, lifting up the welded steel mesh into the thickness of the bed slab, and without forgetting the bit below this. Do not bring the concrete up to the bottom of the panels, nor to the bottom of the steps. At the bottom of the panel and around the bottom edge of the pool, make a safety edge of 30 centimeters. Shape the concrete at the bottom of the pool using metal rules and follow the reference pegs. Use the resting step as a guideline to make the slopes converge. Now it's very important to lay a screed to end up with a perfectly smooth base. Make this screed using mortar dosed at 400 kilos with fine sand. For small pools like this one, the concrete can be completed in the morning, weather permitting, and the screed in the afternoon. If you don't want to take care of the concrete yourself, the Desjoyaux dealer can provide you with 2 builders for the day. That's the Service Plus kit. If you're going to have a deck, build brick blocks in the 80 centimeter width up to the top reinforced concrete beam every 2.5 meters. At the position of the filter unit, build 2 walls out of the concrete blocks up to 40 centimeters from the upper edge of the pool. These will be used to support the unit. Brick in the Roman steps by placing blocks lengthwise beneath each step. This is an important part of ensuring that your steps are properly supported. Before filling back, draw the sheaths and cables which supply the filter unit. Bury the cables at a depth of 80 centimeters or cover them with red warning wire. This is a compulsory safety rule. Use an earth-moving vehicle to fill in directly, avoiding large rocks. The structure is solid, non-corroding and designed to last for several decades. After filling back, don't forget to fill in the reinforced concrete beam at the top of the steps. Position the filter unit on a bed of mortar where the brick blocks are placed to complete the bed. Check that it is correctly centered and that it is level. Around the technical compartment of the unit, make a casing out of mortar, using stiff cardboard for the casing. This way you'll be able to remove the unit. Finish filling in around the filter unit. Fold back the provisional twisted rods. Take the trouble to wet the concrete so that the mortar sticks better. The coping is laid on cement powder on fresh mortar or using tiling glue on dry concrete. Coping protrude into the pool by 3 or 4 centimeters to avoid splashing. Grout the joints between the coping stones using the bag of mixture supplied with the kit. Using a damp sponge, finish off the joints. For a better finish, put a white cement grouting between the liner lock and the coping stones. Don't hesitate to ask your dealer for advice about any questions you may have about laying the liner. Remember that you must not wear shoes when performing this operation. Unfold the liner and center it in the pool. The serial number should be on the filter unit side. Line up the reference mark in the corner of the structure. Make sure you start laying the liner from a corner. Wedge the liner as you fit it into the liner lock using plastic wedges. The vacuum cleaner tube at the filter unit in order to remove all air, covering the tube with a cloth to ensure that it's airtight. The liner will stick to the walls. Remove any folds on the bottom with your feet by pushing them towards the walls. Position the finishing wedge band around the edge of the liner lock. Filling the pool. Before fitting the flanges of the steps, wait until the water reaches this level. Position the flanges of the steps using silicone-coated tightening screws. Start with the side flanges. Position the flange covers. Cut the liner using a cutter on the plywood side, following the inside of the flanger. Continue filling the pool and only stop the vacuum cleaner when the water level reaches the first step of the staircase. The Desjoyaux filter unit with the parts submerged in the pool, the spotlight, the nozzle and the skimmer, the technical compartment built into the deck, an upper current swimming system and heating. We're going to move on to installing the filter unit. Be careful, this operation must be carried out by a qualified electrician. Don't forget to prime the pump. Lock the cover. Our method makes it possible to lay the deck immediately without waiting for the fill-in to settle, thanks to the supporting blocks and the provisional rods. Lay a 10 cm screed using mortar dosed at 400 kilograms, reinforced with a welded steel mesh. Lay the tiles directly on this screed unit powder. Seal the joints. Your pool is finished at last. As you can see, it's easy. Don't hesitate about assembling Desjoyaux pool yourself, and don't hesitate to use this video. This is your Desjoyaux dealer's last visit, but not the least important one. When you start up your swimming pool, he explains how to look after it and shows you what to do to have a carefree installation.
Ensuite, on va remplir correctement pour éviter de désamorcer la pompe. Et là, vous remplissez progressivement. Là, il est plein. Voilà. Et là, vous pouvez à ce moment-là l'installer sur votre système de filtration. Et là, vous le mettez en place directement. Voilà. À peu près par là. Attention avec les poser directement dans le panier comme ceci. Voilà. Et tout nécessaire à faire. Les eaux vertes, comment les traiter, les eaux blanches, comment les récupérer. Donc ça magnifique.
And finally, the first swim for those who can't wait. This is also the time to sign the warranty and work acceptance report. These documents are needed for you to take full advantage of the guarantee on the equipment and installation. At your Desjoyaux dealer, you'll find all equipment solutions suited to your pool. Tile surrounds, heating systems, covers and even inflatable toys for your children. Your dealer is a professional who has been trained in the methods used by Jean Desjoyaux, an international brand, a company quoted on the stock exchange, and a family business which is tuned into its customers.